When you think about job search, one often thinks about it in terms of in-person because you're going in for an interview. And so one of the things that you need to be mindful of is your appearance. And you need to be mindful of it in advance because you have to prepare to look like a professional. You know, you have birthdays, you have Christmas, or whatever the case might be, so that you have that professional business attire for you to give your password out. And if you remember way back when, probably in high school sometime, when you signed up for Facebook, they told you that you were not permitted to give your password out. It is against their regulations. And so that's really all you have to say to an employer now. There was a case, I think it was March maybe of 2011, a young man in New York, ideal position, wanted the job, interviewed, second interview, and they asked for his password, and he said no. And he got the ball rolling. And then people began to talk about it. NACE, the National Association for Colleges and Employers, became part of the investigation, and then we began to get information about password privacy. Presenting yourself during job search, make sure that you have a professional email that you are utilizing. Make sure that your cell phone is the appropriate ringtone and that you're not leaving a, you know, hey, I'm not here, call me back, I'll call you back when I can. But professional in nature. Make sure they're not listening to music, because nobody's going to listen to music to leave you a message. They're going to go on to the next person and really write you off. You really need to mind your manners when you're searching for a job. And that really begins with proofreading. Make sure you edit everything. Make sure you don't have errors in your information. You need to be genuinely interested in the job that you're applying for. So don't just send your resume everywhere, because if you're doing that and you interview for the position, an employer is going to pick up whether or not you really want to be employed with them. You want to be patient when you apply for positions. And if you're a senior, certainly now is the time that you should really be on top of applying for positions. And if you're a junior, you should be on top of looking for hands-on experiences like an internship, a field placement, a co-op, so that you have something meaningful to put on your resume. And watch what you say and how long you take to say it. So just something simple on your resume. When you read a resume, and every time you read something, they say responsible for, responsible for, responsible for, that really is wasted language. And so you have to be careful even about that. Note that when you're looking for a job, it's not just a traditional one-on-one, but you might be interviewed in a group. You might have an opportunity to go out to work. I worked with one of my daughter's friends to prep for an interview, and she gave me some feedback when she came back, and you know, we talked about wearing comfortable shoes and things of that nature. And something new that I learned from her experience is that she was interviewed by 3 individuals. One was a one-on-one sit-down interview. Another one, they called it a walk and chat. And so she actually walked with an executive, and that person asked her questions as they were walking. And then the next person she sat with also. But I thought the walk and chat was very interesting. And she found that very difficult to do, you know, to casually walk, because he was not only asking her questions, but he was pointing pieces of information out to her. But by the time she got to the 3rd person, she really calmed her nerves, and she was able to talk about just meaningful things that didn't have anything to do with a particular question, but what had to do with the company and their protocol and things that they do for audits and things of that type. So know that when you're looking for a job, there's going to be different types of searches that you might expose yourself to. Know that your energy always has to be high when you're looking for a job. And not only at the interview, but when you get up in the morning and you want to go to a particular job site, get up and get dressed, have a nice breakfast, and then do that. Don't just roll out of bed and then look for a job, because you want to have high energy when you are prepping for jobs. Always stay positive, because being positive will keep you motivated. Attend as many job fairs as you can, and we'll talk more about job fairs. Do self-assessment. You know, what do you want from the job? What types of jobs do you want to apply for? Do you want a job because you want a title? Do you want a job because you want a certain salary? Do you want to relocate? If you want to relocate, you know, what should you do in order to make that successful? During the job search, seniors, and it's not too late to do this, you know, if you didn't do a co-op or an internship, you know, try and do something, even if it's just a field placement, or even if it's just a volunteer experience. Because what employers are saying to me is that they want more than a BA. They want the student to have meaningful hands-on experience on their resume in relation to the type of position that they're going after. And so that really is the way to go, and the university's taking a closer look at that, because we recognize that there's some majors within the university that require internships, and then there are some that have the substitute teaching, public health, you have to do an internship, and then there are some that you don't have to do an internship, but there's a lot of astute students that will still do internships or co-ops, and we'll talk a little more about co-ops. Do a temporary job. You know, go to a staffing agency and see if you can do something for 3 weeks. You know, in the summertime, maybe spring break, you could do something for a week. So go to a temp, because you find meaningful positions at that level also. When you're looking for a job, ask yourself, is it important for you to have opportunities for professional development, educational benefits? Does the company promote from within? Those are the things that you need to be thinking about, as opposed to, I just need to get a job. If it takes you a month longer to get a job that has more benefits, that's more in par for what you want to do, then that month is really well spent. When you're looking for a job and you have 3 offers on the table, that's when you really need to sit down and examine, you know, what offer you might accept. And not that you're going to have a long time, because some people will say, well, you need to let me know in 2 days, and if that's the case, and you're waiting for another offer to come in, and there's ways that you could try to maneuver around. Reference page is good because it might have names on that reference page that the individuals looking at your resume may be familiar with, and again, that becomes networking. Employers like to hire people whom they know. Nobody wants to get stuck with someone that's classified as a bad apple that's going to rock the boat. So in fact, what some of the, even the 500 companies are doing is that they are employing individuals through staffing agencies. So you get your job through a staffing agency, you work for a particular company, you work for the staffing agency for 3 months. If you don't work out, you're gone. You don't have anything to do with the company. But if you work out, it could be temp to hire. And then once they know that you're solid and that you will fit in, then they will hire you. So employers are looking at personalities when they hire. They're not only looking at your skills, but they're looking at soft skills also. So when you're listing references and you're coming out of college, we recommend that you have 3 to 5. And because you're coming out of college, you do need to have at least one person from academia. How are you going to ask anybody to be a reference for you if you didn't take the time to build a relationship with one of your faculty members or your chairperson or your dean, somebody within your department? And then if you did an internship, you know, definitely someone at the internship, and then any other job that you might have. And again, 3 to 5 is good. Now, it doesn't mean that you list those individuals in A to Z order, nor does it mean that you list them in chronological order. But you list them based on who's going to toot your horn the loudest. Because if you have 5 and they go down the list and the first 2 aren't saying much, they're going to say, well, you know what, I don't really have time for this, I'm going to pass. But so the one that toots your horn the loudest gives a lot of glowing information. The second one does the same thing. The 5 secrets of a successful job search would include utilizing career services. So you can come down to the Wintergreen building, we're in room 119. Definitely do an internship or co-op. research any company that you are interested in, and it's a definite that you research them before you actually go in for an interview or spend any time speaking with them at a career fair. Practice your interviewing skills. Most people don't nail interviewing skills just by doing it one time and taking it very casual. There's practice that you need to take. So at our university, some of the things that are available for students in reference to interviewing skills is to meet with a counselor. So if a student comes into me and they're interested in interviewing skills, what I indicate to them is that I would like for them to see a video first. It's very old and it's a VHS, but it has all of the meaningful information in it. Every year I try and see if it's duplicated, and it's not, so I keep it. And I always beg to make sure we bring a TV so I can allow students to see that. And then I ask them to come in and do a mock interview with me, whereby I'm going to present information to them about interviewing, and then I'm going to ask them to respond to questions, and I'm going to critique their questions, letting them know what's appropriate, what's good, what they might need to build upon, helping them with questions that they might get stuck on. And then lastly, I would invite them to utilize Perfect Interview, which is a web-based program on our website. And you can select from thousands of questions. You can say how long you want to be interviewed. Have a camera so that you can videotape yourself. You can save it. You can play it back. If it looks good and you want to come back and meet with me again, then you can do that. If you want to delete it and do it again, you can do it as many times as you want to.